Michigan State University. All right, and it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague Aisha Razak, also from Michigan State. She leads our Translational Scholar Program for our Center for Global Food Systems Innovation. She'll tell you all about that. I'm really excited to have her here because this idea of what's now called Translational Scholars has been something that I've talked about with the Associate Dean for Research in one of our colleges for at least 4 years. We came up with it on the back of a wrapper or something we found in her car, on the way back from a meeting. And she goes, we really need students that are on research teams to help tell the story of what the research is actually doing and translate it into the language and information products for various stakeholders. And wouldn't it be great if they could use all these open education resource techniques so we could spread the information and resources around, and what kind of impact might that have on the field in which they're doing research? So we knew that for a long time. She finally got a grant from the NIH, a conference grant, where she hired 5 people with that name. And it turns out that's actually a term used for people that serve this role on purpose as professionals on research teams in the health field. So you'll see it written into NIH grants, as a standard thing. You don't see it in agriculture, but you see it in health. So we might actually change the name because we don't want it too associated just with health. But when MSU applied to the USAID to be a Higher Education Solutions Network grantee, and we won along with 6 other lab locations across the country, we built Translational Scholars into that program, and Aisha runs that. So I'm really pleased to introduce her because it's nice to see this really come into fruition. It's in the early days, so we're looking for your feedback. And I'm going to introduce you now to Aisha Razak.
I'm sorry, I was getting my spectacles, so I'm not sure if you introduced me as in introduced where I'm from, my context. So that's no, good. Okay, so as Chris said, my name is Aisha Razak. You all are backbenchers.
That's good.
So anyway, my name is Aisha Razak. I am from Pakistan. I'm still from Pakistan, yes. I know you're from Pakistan too. And by training, my undergraduate training, I'm an electrical engineer. I worked as an engineer for 3 years in Pakistan. After which I moved to the US to pursue graduate school. I have my master's and my PhD in higher education administration from Michigan State University. And until very recently, until this September, I was working after my engineering job, got a PhD, started working with teacher education with a USAID project in Pakistan, doing teacher education reform. Just recently joined what we call the Global Center for Food Systems Innovation as the Translational Scholars Core lead. That's what they call me. It's funny how each time when I say this, I have to say this. This is what they call me. I haven't still come fully to terms with my title. Just to give you all a brief overview of what GCFSI or the Global Center for Food Systems Innovation is before delving deeper into what the TSC is and what TSC do. Let me give you a brief overview. So, I'm sorry. I traveled today, so I'm this old. Anyway, so the Global Center for Food Systems Innovation is basically a $25 million USAID-funded project that's being led by Michigan State University. The lab, GCFSI, is basically a part of a network of labs across the US, including one international university, that are funded by the USAID as a larger higher education solutions network. So the idea behind funding these labs is to involve academics in international development. And USAID likes to think that by harnessing the state-of-the-art engineering, technology, agriculture, and all these disciplinary skills and knowledge at universities, they are going to be in a better position to find innovative solutions to global development problems. GCFSI at MSU is charged with transformation of food systems, focusing 3 regions of the world: East Africa, West Africa, Southeast Asia, and looking to reform food systems. We work through 3 megatrends, what we call megatrends, basically 3 research-based components. The first one of the three megatrends is a component that deals with population growth, climate change, and pressure on land. Our second research component is rapid urbanization and transformation of the food system. Our third megatrend or component is evolution in skills required by food system transformation, basically workforce development through higher education and vocational training. So this is, in a nutshell, what GCFSI is doing. In addition to the three megatrends, GCFSI also has 5 cross-cutting themes. We call them cross-cutting because they help support the work that the 3 megatrends are doing. And we think that those 5 cross-cutting themes are very, very important or essential to the work that they are doing. These cross-cutting themes are gender, ICT for development, using big data sets for making decisions, knowledge management, and the 5th is translational scholar score, which is what I'm representing today. So who are the translational scholars, or what is translational scholar score? I'm assuming that most of us here are aware of where the term TSC come from in the literature. We are aware that translational scholars have been in place in the fields of communication and medicine. Very, very briefly, very simply put, they're translating research into practice or into formats that inform practice. What we mean by TSC here at GCFSI is that we are a group of undergraduate and graduate students. We represent diverse disciplines. We come from fields including, but not limited to, agriculture, food sciences, packaging, engineering, education, communications. And we are students who are engaged with faculty, with our peers, with community, with public and private stakeholders in addressing real-world research problems with the shared goal of tackling global food shortage challenges. So this is what the TSC is. The vision of GCFSI for TSC, the short-term and the long-term goals, we see TSC as an enhanced student work experience. So basically, we want students to engage from different disciplines, diverse disciplines, finding solutions to real research problems. And we think that as the students engage in research in their teams and as they interact with their peers from other disciplines, work in interdisciplinary teams, because as you can see, the megatrends are different disciplines and they work across each other. As they interact with academics, as they interact with policymakers, not just in the US, but also in the FTF countries, including stakeholders like smallholder farmers or education institutions, ministries of education, policymakers. We hope that through this process, students are allowed to experience these research problems from these various perspectives. And in the process, they come up with innovative, solutions and products that can be published, repurposed, and shared. So we are engaging students in research so that they become experts in their own fields. We're engaging them in interdisciplinary teams so that they acquire the interdisciplinary language, which is so important to solving system-level problems. And we are hoping that this process, by engaging in this process, students are being transformed. And they're being transformed as innovative problem solvers, as change agents. So a long-term goal is to create a scalable and sustainable model of training students from different disciplinary backgrounds who are engaged, among other things, in crafting, curating, and sharing knowledge, which is what I'm assuming the larger focus of this conference is. So moving on, Chris touched a little bit on where the TSC concept is coming from at MSU. When we were tasked with operationalizing the TSC, there was this grand vision that was given in our response to the RFP that was sent out by the USAID. But when we actually sat down, started thinking about, okay, so it looks very good, but how do we put this in place? How does this work in reality? So we started talking to people, and we realized that we don't have to do this from scratch, because people around us are already doing it. They may have models that may not fit our needs 100%, but we can always build on those. models, existing models. So we started reaching out. We started reaching out to stakeholders on campus as well as off campus. And that is how I met Chris as well. I didn't know her before, and this is how I met her. So the idea was to reach out to stakeholders on campus, co-create the concept of TSC, co-create the model, and in the process, creating a network of networks of sorts. So connecting with people, connecting through those people with larger networks, and in that process, leveraging and sharing connections, sharing resources, opportunities, information, in the process, learning from each other and innovating. So we have done that quite a bit locally. By locally, I mean on MSU campus across different projects, funded internally or externally, and across different departments. For instance, MSU Global that Chris represents, Communication Arts and Sciences, a college that has put in place the TSC model a long time ago. MasterCard, a group of students from Africa working on different issues, also on agriculture. We heard again a USAID-funded project that brings in students from FTF countries to gain training in agriculture. So we reached out to them and started talking to them about how they're networking students, how they're utilizing their student bodies. We're also doing this globally, and we're doing this globally by sharing across the GCFSI consortium. And I should have mentioned this earlier, but GCFSI is part of a larger consortium. So Michigan State University is working with universities in India, working with university in Tanzania, working with a university in Wageningen University in the Netherlands. So we share across these connections. We share across the larger HESN network, which is composed of universities like Duke, MIT, William and Mary, Berkeley, and the likes. So what exactly at this point the TSC are doing at MSU or at GCFSI? And by the way, we rolled out only 2 months ago. So we are doing things, but this is still evolving. So we look at these students really as change agents, like I already mentioned. I'm not going to go into the detail of it. I'm not sure how much time I have left, but okay, 10 minutes, I think that's enough. So these students are change agents just because of the unique role these students are in. I mean, these students are so much better than faculty at pushing the silos, the disciplinary silos, and working across disciplines. And just because of the fact we have engaged undergraduate, both undergraduate and graduate students, I just feel the undergraduates have so much energy and so much enthusiasm for trying new things. Just because of their role and just because of the positions they are in, I think they are in the best place to make connections with stakeholders and work across disciplines. These students are conducting real research as colleagues with their faculty members. These students are developing open knowledge. Some of the projects, some have already come out. For instance, the first year of the project was about developing white papers. Everything that we know about problems in these 3 megatrends as well as cross-cutting themes, coming up with problems that are critical to address. So these students worked on white papers as colleagues with faculty. They are also focusing, some of the students are focusing their dissertation work along the same lines. Summary documents are coming out. We will at some point also develop policy documents, articles, of course, conferences, as all academics do. As people have done already with the TSC model at MSU, we hope that there will be instructional cases that will come out with the research work and the practice work that these students are going to do in the US as well as abroad. We are training students to develop materials, to engage with or to reach out to community stakeholders, and then we're training students to create an open knowledge platform. And just to show you some faces that are doing this work, just to make this more concrete for you. This is John Bonnell, one of the translational scholars. He's a 4th-year PhD candidate. He works in education. His interest is, and his work with MT3 is looking at institutional responses to curriculum change. So he's looking at how universities, both public and private, in FTF countries of focus are going to react to curriculum change, which is very, very important to the future workforce development. And he's one of the students who contributed towards the white paper. He's one of the students who is actually engaged in setting up a workshop very soon, I think in a few months' time, in East Africa. And in the process, I'm sure, coming up with modules and training materials. Then we have Eleanor. She's an undergraduate student. She's a translational scholar. As Eleanor began to engage with the TSC, she thought, we are all good students, have a good GPA. How about students who are coming from more disadvantaged background? How can we make them a part of the TSC network? How can we mentor them and bring them to the level where they can be valuable resources for the GCFSI work? And in the process, maybe also assess how that matters to their educational attainment and to their retention. So she's working on developing a paper around that. Mallory Flanders, she comes from food sciences, again, an undergraduate student, currently working through TSC with the International Food and Agribusiness Management Association. They showed interest in working with Megatrend 3, which is workforce development, in coming up with certification in agriculture. So she is the point person who's working with IFAMA to do that. Then we have Thian Kai. She's with the ICT 4D cross-cutting team, ICT for development. She's interested in looking at how technology can be used and leveraged for the education of farmers in African countries, to be specific. Okay. So I guess I'm going to skip a few more pictures. So anyway, this is important, and she really likes this, so I'm going to focus on this. So these students are doing a variety of things. They are also collaborating in the process. I'm not going to touch on all the competencies and skills we think are important to them, but at the core of the work that these students are doing lies innovation. And innovation, we all know, is finding different ways or new ways of coming up with solutions to existing problems. So we want these TSC, as they graduate from the experience, be innovative, look at, capture what's out there, what's old in new ways, capture new ideas through their research, and then be able to craft from those ideas products, services, and processes that can be then shared with appropriate stakeholders. So if you haven't figured this out already, as there is an app for everything, there's also a formula for everything. So we have actually come up with a formula for this. And I'm sorry, I have to go to my laptop to open that formula. It's in a different browser window.
Don't tell David Kernighan that we're boil it down to a formula.
This is a free iPad app that allows you to doodle, and don't mind the writing because this is done by my 10-year-old. I gave her a copy and the formula written on it, and I asked her to practice it so that I can video record it. So just for the sake of saving us some time, so we believe, like I said before, we believe a process and experience can be transformational for students. T is for transformation. If they are enabled to C1, which is to capture ideas. C2, which is craft out of those ideas, products, services, processes. Transformation increases exponentially if they're able to reflect, which is shown by the R up there, again, based on Forbes' experiential theory. And then it's further enhanced if they're able to share it from multiple perspectives, be it from the perspective of a farmer or of a teacher, a researcher, a policymaker. And then the whole thing divided by A. We are academics, and we are also being funded by the aids. So we, of course, have to show that what we're spending their money on is worthwhile. So at the end of the day, being able to assess that the experiences we provided these students did actually help them develop the skills we wanted them to develop. So this is the big formula.
Yeah. How do you like that formula? design it to success. I'm so happy that we're actually launching it. She forgot to tell you, maybe I said earlier, there's 50 translational scholars annually in this budget of all different disciplines, undergraduate and graduate. They've taken on themselves to invite other funded scholars on campus, so I don't know if we're up to 60, 80, and I don't know. It's a bit, they call themselves a translational scholar corps. They have their own Facebook page. They're, you know, set students loose a little bit of shape and some goals, and they can really work wonders. And that's what's starting to happen.
And until now, what has been happening is that we are putting forward ideas. We are saying, okay, this is, you know, we have an opportunity here. Who wants to take it up? And they just come forward and take it up.
They're taking it up.
Deliver it.
So imagine an army of these smart students trained in how to create open educational resources, trained in how to use and reuse and storytell using open educational resources and all media in support of the research themes that you talked about. My group is helping to figure out what kinds of tools can we use, what sort of services, not reinvent the wheel, where can we store these things, how can they be found, how can we enable reuse, how can we enable co-creation with partners and this sort of network of networks idea. And we're going to roll out the first version of that, well, we're starting now, but in January was our first deadline. So I can't wait to come back to OpenEd 2014, which is only in a few months, and share our progress. And then I hope Aisha comes back and joins us next year.
And I hope PSCO2 can come in.
Yeah, where they're starting, it's the second year, so there's 4 more years of this project. And hopefully it'll get even farther, and maybe this model will spread, Translational Scholar will spread to the other HESN labs. And we hope some of you might be interested in adopting this model as well, and hoping to create it with us. So thank you very much. Thank you, Aisha.
Can you describe a bit more the opens? Like, what is it they're actually translating? Is it just research articles? Is it a translation of education resources? Is it both? And earlier, an open platform was mentioned. What's the open platform for? So just about that open part of the whole thing.
Okay, the open part of the whole thing. So doing white papers in the traditional way that's not really what we're talking about. But that's how this group started in its first year. So what they're looking to do now, imagine, how many of you saw the OER Research Hub? It's over here. All right, so imagine the OER Research Hub reskinned, called the Global Center for Food Systems Innovation. And imagine these students using that for their research. When they're doing similar things, they're geographic, they're finding research, they're testing hypotheses related to their research things. Imagine them posting that research. Imagine them posting their briefing papers, their notes, the webinars that they're starting to host, their notes from things they go to, collected in things like Scoopit, organized as it comes in research form in things like the OER Research Hub, but maybe not that type of research question. And the types of things that link to learning that they would be creating would be knowledge assets that teachers could use in the classroom. So case study material, illustrated examples, video case studies, snippets of interviews that they curate to tell a certain story, or using tools like Storify. The goal is to put in place for everything that they create that's feasible. And not everything that they create because it's research is going to be automatically openly licensed. Sorry about that. It'll be a mixed environment here. But everything that's feasible, we want to have it openly licensed on purpose and put in an open platform, hopefully not something that we create, right, that's already existing out there. That's the goal. We don't have it all figured out yet. We'll be pushing some of the USAID policies a little bit to make some of this smoother. The USAID's funded the Food Safety Knowledge Network, 5 years ago, and that's all openly licensed. So these things are there. They're just not kind of smoothed out as regular processes and procedures. But put these things in the hands of students, and that kind of energy, they're unstoppable. And I think we'll make some pretty rapid progress. Other questions?
Thank you very much.
Are we done? All right, thank you.